Welcome, everybody, to the Daily HiFi podcast. How is everybody doing? My name's Chana. With me, as always, we've got Michael and Joe. And Aaron is back from Aaron's Audio Corner. What's up, fellas? How are you?
What's happening, Chana?
Yeah. So now that we have all of us, who is the most punchable face? Is it me? Is it Chana?
Uh-oh.
Look at that face right there. Michael, or is it, Michael? Look at that. Or is it Aaron? Look at that. Look at, It's a hard face. Hard to punch that face. Oh, man.
Or is it?
A, B, C, or D?
Yes.
Have a vote.
Let us know in the comments.
Can I vote?
Yeah, you can vote.
Well, I'm on this.
I won last time. I think they said me last time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends.
What's going on? What's new with you guys? We got a lot of new videos that have just been released. Michael, I think you have the thumbnable of the year, maybe.
Oh, really? Why is that?
I'd say so.
I know. It's about measurements, right?
Wow.
Tied it all together. Everything's come full circle now.
You guys are messed up, man.
There it is.
It always goes there with y'all, but it's all good.
I mean,
I
you put the thumbnail there.
Yeah, I saw the thumbnail.
I literally-
I was like,
that was totally you,
But see,
bro.
that's the thing.
but I was
Your-
like,
your brain-
congratulations.
Yeah, your brain
my
goes.
brain.
Yeah, you are like, man, I'm impressed.
Like, I'm
He's
like,
like, I love
dude,
Mike this much.
why are you doing stereo stuff? You got other things you could be doing. You can just call it.
I
In
don't
our
have
group
that.
chat, Aaron tells him, "Congratulations, man."
I don't have that kind of
Underwear
channel,
model.
man. I don't have that kind of channel.
That's what he mean. That's what Michael means when he says "be blessed." You know what I mean?
Be blessed. Yes,
blessed.
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
gosh, man.
Oh, wow.
Man. Good
No,
stuff.
but it was really cool, man. It was actually Jessica's ideas because we had talked about it maybe 4 months ago about doing that video. I had mentioned it to her. I said, "Man, this will be kind of fun," and just kind of seeing what you've picked up over the years because she really could care less about home theater and then last night she's like, we ought to make our Valentine's Day video. I'm like, Valentine's Day video? What do you mean? She's like, like you and I, we could do that video you were talking about. I'm like, I'm like, well, I can go set it up. Let's hit it. So I wrote down some questions for her, and she's like, "You got to hurry up though, because I'm getting ready for bed." She goes to bed early. So, but yeah, man, we knocked that out. That was a lot of fun, really. Just super cool, and it was just a really laid back kind of video, and she's a hoot, man.
That was hilarious.
was
I like
cracking.
the Twitter was
Oh
my.
my gosh, when she said that, I'm like, what? For those of you that didn't see the video,
You're like, okay, the Twitter. You kept going with it. The
I'm
Twitter.
like,
Okay.
I'm like, what are the components of a speaker? Usually there's 3 speakers in a speaker.
There's the speaker, the Twitter.
You're like, hold up.
Like,
what does the Twitter
I'm
do?
Like, the Twitter, yeah. What does the Twitter? She's like, it tweets.
It tweets.
I was like,
It's so funny how close she was to getting it, right?
I was like
yeah.
she picks up on bits and pieces, man. But it was hilarious.
Should've
But
asked her what the
we just had
woofer
a
does.
fun time. It was just, I think, and a lot of people really seemed to enjoy it. And I think it was just genuine. It was just a couple just genuinely having fun, and so it was really really cool, man.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I think what's amazing is that we all make videos. We're all into audio, and we all actually have wives.
Yeah. It's
kind of amazing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody was willing to
Wives,
marry us.
Unlike some of the
family.
ones out there.
Uh-oh.
I don't know who you're talking about, but
Yes, you do.
do I? I don't.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
You can tell
but
me
it's
later,
okay.
though. It's all right.
Yes,
It's all right.
Yeah, we'll
Tell
do
me in the
something
after
I'm
show.
I'm trying to think.
Oh, the after show.
The after party.
Yeah.
That's
I watched
right.
the video. That was good. I enjoyed it. My wife actually watched part of it with me. So
I
she
heard
laughed a couple
so many
times.
people asking, mentioning that. They're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna watch this with my wife." I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it
So,
was entertainment.
Yeah. So
You could tell
something totally
she does not like subwoofers.
no.
Yeah, she hates subwoofers. Because I was trying to guess what she was going to say, and
No.
then like she would say something totally opposite of what I expected. I said, "Oh, I didn't see that coming."
Yeah, she does not like the bang bang and the boom boom is what she called it. I was like, yeah. So
Yeah, it's hard to get away from the bass, right?
yeah, it travels.
bass
all
travels.
the way through the house, and I don't even have to have it very loud. So when we designed the new cabinet, so probably about 4 years ago, one of the things that my friend, when he designed it, he said, you know what? He said, I know how much Jessica doesn't like bass, and instead of you having to go through your menus and turn off your subwoofers through that, He said, I'll just put 2 little light switches literally that kills the power to those switched outlets. And so I just reach under the cabinet, hit the 2 light switches, and subwoofers are off. Yeah, so it makes it really easy. So a lot of times when she goes to bed, I just kill that. And then lately I've been doing a lot more gaming and playing Call of Duty. So I've been using the headphones.
This guy and his zombies.
Dude, no, actually, we've been doing Cold War. What Cold War?
Warzone?
Warzone. Yeah, so my son and I, we've been doing quads and trios and duos, and got my first dub the other night. Not that kind, Sean. I know you're weird like that. But got our first dub the other day, just me and my son.
Oh, yeah?
So that was kind of fun.
I'm not a huge so that game type is called Battle Royale.
Yeah.
Joe and Aaron, if you guys don't know,
like
there's a bunch of different
150
people. Yeah, and so it's the one winner of the entire thing. So it's either your group of 4, your group of 2, or single if you're playing singles.
Or 3. Yeah. So
I'm not a fan of that because like I'm caught with my pants down, really. Like I'm just running around looking for a gun because you don't load with any weapons.
Right.
So you're just running around and I just get shot. I'm like, okay, well that was lame.
Yeah,
and
you start
20 minutes waiting.
And you start finding guns and better guns, and you upgrade and you buy loadouts and all kinds of stuff. So, but they're teaching me, so I have a lot of fun with it. And the biggest thing is just I'm hanging out with my son. Yeah. You know, it's something that he loves doing, and it's a way that I can kind of step into his world. And, you know, it gives us common ground. And now that he's moved out and he's married, there's less of those opportunities because he's building his own family and starting his own life. And so for me to be able to do that, like we probably go every other night. So maybe like probably 5 times, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. So something like that. So I asked him tonight, I'm like, hey, we playing tonight? He's like, oh yeah. I said, all right, I'll see you there. That's hilarious.
I mean,
look at True Voice. I love that comment. Pull your pants up, you can run fast.
That's right. That's right. You can. You can. You can. Unless you don't know where you're going.
I made a few just like quick videos. They were unplanned videos in response to some other YouTube guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right.
So what was that all about, Joe? So there was a video that was made and a thought process of there's no such things as the law of diminishing returns, which basically says that as you go up in price, you should increase in performance always. That's not what the law of diminishing returns says, but that's what he was agreeing to. And Joe was like, wait a minute, no, just because you increase in price doesn't necessarily yield a linear improvement. You know?
Yeah, it's just it's decreasing, right? So you can watch my video on my channel.
Yeah, super good.
But yeah, it was Steve Guttenberg that was saying that in his video, and then I went back. Actually, I saw another video from like a long time ago where same title, you know, about diminishing returns is BS. Yeah. But he was talking about how like some Pioneer speakers, some cheap speakers, inexpensive speakers were actually really good, and that was the point where he thought it was the point of diminishing returns. So I'm like, what is this? What does he think? Like, is he just trying to get a reaction out of people? So I'm not sure. Hopefully he responds. Yeah. I try to keep it friendly. You know, I've never talked to him in my life. So
just have fun.
Who is the guy? Who is this?
Steve Guttenberg.
Oh, that guy.
The audiophiliac.
Yeah, what that name?
Not
really?
Police Academy.
Yeah, sounds.
Yeah, that's a different Guttenberg. Yeah. So anyway, I just I felt like I had to respond, so I just turned on the camera. I didn't do any B-roll, nothing like that. I just had to get it off my chest. Like,
sure,
this is not correct.
So that's the second
what you're
fight.
saying is wrong.
That's the second fight you picked this week, right?
That was the second fight.
That was
second. I wasn't picking fights. I try to keep it cool with everybody, you know. Yeah. But the first one was actually kind of crazy because like we were talking to I was talking to Andrew Robinson. He called me up on the phone. Michael, he asked you for my number, so we talked for a little bit.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was kind of joking around like I do when I do my Fresh Hater J thing, right? Mm-hmm. Talking about punchable faces, this and that. And, like, I was kind of worried because I've never talked to him, right? I'm like, I wonder if he's going to take that too seriously, right? But no, he was cool. He was on the phone. He's like, yeah, you know, I didn't mind that so much. But yeah, man, he was talking about he was talking about that like I don't know. He tried to backpedal a little bit, trying to say that measurements don't really matter to him. And I've been thinking about it, right? That, you know, his whole thing is it's all about if you like your system. At the end of the day, it depends on whether you like your system, right? And I was like, you know, I can get with that. And then I thought about it throughout the week. And here's the thing. That's cool. That's okay. As long as you like your system, that's all that matters. Fine. If you're the consumer, but if you're a reviewer, it's a whole different scenario. If you're the one reviewing a product and people are basing their purchasing decisions on what you're saying,
review,
it shouldn't just be depends on what you like, right? Because at that point, who cares?
Yeah.
Right.
If it's just what this one person likes, then another person might like something different. There has to be something objective to tie everything together. If you're a reviewer, if you're the consumer, then just buy what you like. That's fine. You know what I mean? It's not like people are like making decisions, and it's not like you have like 170,000 subscribers on YouTube. I think there's a responsibility that goes along with that. So
with great power comes great responsibility.
That's
Yes.
right.
So, you know, here's my message. My message, if he's watching, is, you know, more to you, Andrew Robinson, is like, if you want to talk, you know, we can talk, and then I'll explain why I think it's so important. And my job is more to, I think it's more to convince you to do that, right? So anyway, that's it. Off my soapbox.
I would agree with your soapbox. I will stand next to you on that soapbox.
Right
Yeah.
behind the clipple.
Yeah. We'll hide right behind the clip.
He'd be sitting on the clipboard.
You're gonna
I won't
sit
have
on the
remote,
clip,
I'll
will spin
smack
around.
somebody with it. That's right. Smack somebody in the arm with it because they come at me.
Yeah, that microphone might get him right in the right in the tuchus.
That's right.
That might
would
just keep him
hurt.
centered, though.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could be.
You know.
Yeah. Well balanced.
Oh my gosh, it always goes there.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, so who do we have in the chat, and what are we gonna do after this?
My
At an
mic.
hour here.
Oh yeah, here we go. So we got
Turn my
Rick
mic up.
Thrasher's in the house, Kanga as always. We got True Voice of Reason, RGA's here. And I saw a new face somewhere
We
down
got a
here.
couple of
Russell's
requests
here.
to turn Aaron's mic up a little bit.
Yeah, I just did that. So
Okay, cool.
should be good now.
I want to
Yes.
say a
You can
new-
also yell.
say a new hello to a new guy keeping up with the Joneses. Welcome.
Oh,
Good to
new
see
guy.
you.
I've never seen that guy. Who is that?
Who's that? Who's that? What's up, Randall?
I like that name. That's a good name.
Good to see you.
It's not
Tristan.
confusing at all.
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
anybody,
Deb-
right?
It's not like anybody on
Graham
YouTube.
Oliver. Jean Sebastian, what's up?
Oh yeah,
Listen,
Right Waves in the house.
John,
Good to see you,
is
man.
it John or Jean? I'm just
Jean,
curious.
probably Jean.
Jean?
Sebastian.
That's a cool name. I mean,
Jean
I want to
Claude
roll
Van
up in a
Damme.
place and be like, my name is Jean Sebastian.
Jean Sebastian, I rhyme.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It
that's
just sounds
not
cool.
That's his, I guess, middle name, second name. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a lot better than my name's Aaron with an E. My name's John Sebastian. Like, that just sounds smooth.
Just sounds smooth.
John. See? He knows Jean. Jean Sebastian.
Jean-Claude
Grisset.
Van Damme.
This dude's like, I'm getting one heck of a shout out right now. Dude, I love your name. We can switch. All right, I'm out.
Michael's got the two first names.
I do. And
Yeah.
so
Where
many
is
Michael?
people, yeah, Michael Stevens. So a lot of people call me Steve or Steven. I mean, I
Really?
can't tell you how.
Oh,
Oh,
Mike.
yeah. Like a
Yo,
lot of
Steve-O.
a lot
What's
at
good?
church, man. They're like, "Hey, Steven." I'm like, "Hi." Like, I know who they're
Oh,
talking
you
about,
pronounced
so.
it right. There you go.
Of course.
He
Again.
looks like a
nice.
pimp right there on his photo too. You see that?
Is it- look at that. Look at
That's how
that.
that's how you do a profile
All right,
pic
Aaron.
right there.
We're
Is
gonna,
that
we're gonna put you on the
French?
spot. How do you pronounce the last name?
Where Grisset,
Grisset. Okay.
he can let me know if I pronounce it.
Yeah,
right.
let him know if he
looks
checked
about right.
that all up. Yeah, I like it, man.
You know,
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
well established in the multilingual universe. I may be from Alabama, but I can speak every language.
Wow.
Here's a good question from Barney Jones.
Yep.
Any of you guys
yeah.
ever buy something based on a YouTube review and it turned out to be a piece of junk?
I
Based
can
on
answer that. So
Based.
real fast, I can say that
Go.
I have not, but tying back to this review that you spoke of earlier, the reason I got the Klipsch Heresy 4s to test, like the person who loaned them to me, bought them off somebody's review, and he was the guy that bought them and was not happy with the purchase because he was led to believe they were something they were not. And he said, I would like you to listen to them, but I would also like you to do measurements on them and tell me what I was hearing. So that's how I got them. The dude drove from Atlanta and brought them over to my house himself, and they're still sitting upstairs. It's been 4 months now. That's how much he doesn't like them. He don't even care.
He doesn't even
bottom end, right?
Yeah.
So basically, he bought it. He bought it based on Andrew Robinson's review, saying that it doesn't need a subwoofer. I'll say it. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, no, I mean, and
based on
this
that.
ain't me.
And
This ain't me talking trash. This is literally what the guy told me.
Yeah.
He messaged me. He's a guy on Audioholics, and he messaged me and said, "Would you be interested in testing these?" And I said, "Sure." And we worked out a time. He actually bought some subwoofers from me years ago, so that's how I met him before. And anyway, he brought them over and kind of told me the story about how he came to purchase them. And I said, well, that's interesting. And then when I measured them and sent him the data, he said, oh, makes sense. And I said, all right, cool.
And that's why measurements matter, right? So you have the
measurements
point
matter.
of reference.
I've owned the previous Heresy 3s, and they definitely don't have a lot of bottom end. I mean, they have to have a subwoofer.
Right. They
There's
ported
not
the 4, and I don't want to sound like I'm picking. It's just a really good example of a speaker that a lot of people like.
Yeah.
And that's fine, even if it doesn't measure perfectly. I don't care. The reason that I do the measurements is so people can understand what you're getting. Like, so for example, if I measure that and then a year down the line, I measure some new speaker, like let's say they come out with a Heresy 5, people say, how does it differ? Well, measurements will show you. And then if it's improved in some way, you can say, that's what I want. I'm going to get rid of the 4. I'm going to buy the 5 or something like that. I mean, it's just to help you make a purchase decision. I don't care if somebody likes something that I think sounds like junk. I'm not listening to it. I'm not the dude who bought it. I'm just helping the people at the end of the day understand what they're going to buy or what they bought already. That's it.
You know, the truth is, oh, go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry.
Oh, kind of tying into your video, Joe. I got those Klipsch HP3 headphones. Yeah, those are absolute trash.
Don't like them. They look cool, though.
Not at all.
Hard, bro.
Not at all. I tried using
hard.
them. They're just uncomfortable. They were just like, after like an hour, I tried DJing with them, like one of my first DJ sets, streaming wise. And I'm like, oh man, I got to change headphones. This shit hurts.
Chana, tell us how you really feel though.
Yeah.
I did not like them at all. I got rid of those things so fast. I was going to make a video, never made a video. And if you're wondering, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, why are you guys like always making, you know, videos? Everything's positive. Because I don't want to, it's hard to make a 5-minute video on something that isn't good.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I'd rather
it's
just
like,
not do
it's a
it.
challenge. Like,
Right.
I don't want to do this. There was this remote control I got from Sofa Baton or whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. I could get a universal remote for the bedroom. So it's, you know, it'll control the Apple TV, the Direct TV, and the TV that's in there. That thing was absolute garbage. They're like, are you going to put up a review? I'm like, no, this thing sucks. So I'm not going to waste my time. And they were like, okay. I mean, not like they're going to really do much, but
fortunately, what people don't realize is that a lot of the stuff that we get is just good gear. I mean, let's just face it. I mean, I don't request to review something I think is going to be trash. I request stuff that I typically would probably want to own in my own home, you know?
Yeah.
And it has a potential of sounding really, really good. And so, you know, a lot of times we get stuff. Now, they're not perfect, and those things we try to point out in our videos and say, you know, here's what I heard, here's what I saw, here's what isn't amazing about it, you know? And you as the consumer then decide, okay, with all the information that I can get listening to multiple reviewers, I always encourage people, don't just take one person's advice because we all have a different perspective. You know, go to Joe's channel because he's going to measure it. Go to Aaron's channel. He's going to measure it. Go to me. I'm completely subjective, you know.
And buy it somewhere there where you can send it back.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, right?
Send that stuff back.
I mean, that's what I say. Like, exercise your right as a consumer. Just return that shit.
Yeah.
Right. RTS.
I'm telling you, man, you need a T-shirt, Chana. So we got some
RTS,
questions.
RTS and GTS. Like, I don't know how many questions like I get all the time. Like, if you would just, instead of writing that question and hit comment, if you copy, paste that into Google, you would get the same answer I was going to tell you. Like, I think the amount of like laziness I see all the time is just ridiculous. And I'm like, look, I review this thing. I don't need to be tech support for the next 10 fucking years.
Right.
Like, it's like, get off your ass, people. GTS. Google that shit.
Well,
like,
they have that one website where you can copy and paste
Yeah,
search.
that's funny.
And then you send them the link, and it's
It
you
types it
like
out.
going to Google, like typing it out, and then hitting
Let me
search.
Google that
It's like
for
a
you.
video.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
Let me Google.
Let me Google that for you.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
it.
return that thing. Like
Yeah.
if it's not working, somebody asked me, can you test the HDMI to like it's a Cat 6 converter for like a 70 meter, not 70 feet, 70 meter cable run if that passes 40 gigabits per second for HDMI 2.1? I'm like, dude, I don't know, man.
Yeah, call the company.
Like buy it, and if it doesn't work, return it. Like,
call the company and see if it will.
That's not something I'm gonna like go out and buy all that nonsense and then like, just to get back to you. Like you got a credit card, you got a debit card, you got some sort of money. If you're thinking about doing this, buy it. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, return it.
Yeah.
It's very simple. I don't know. Like I feel like yes, we are putting ourselves out there and all that kind of stuff. I just feel that sometimes people aren't taking advantage of it, but they're just lazy. That's I mean,
I've had people ask me like, "Hey, how much does that cost?" I'm like, "Are you serious?" I mean, really? Like they want
Maybe they're asking how much
so-
it cost you.
No, sadly,
Youth man deal.
no. They want to know like that looks cool, but how much would I pay for it if It's like you can't go to the manufacturer's website. And what's bad is when I had one guy, he asked me a question. Oh, he said, "Can you help me out, man? What's the difference between like the Marantz, let's just say 7012 and 7013? I can't figure it out." And I'm like, and I know where this is going. I'm like, this is so stupid. I open up 2 tabs, 12 and 13. I look at it, and within 3 seconds, it's like, okay, here's a first thing right here in the first stinking paragraph. It's like, come on, man. You know? But like you said, I mean, sometimes people just want us to spoon feed them. It's like, come on, man. Use your brain. Use your computer. You are smarter than you think. Well, maybe you're not, but at least try to be smarter than you think.
Michael.
Danger's my middle name.
Hey.
Yeah, you know what? I'm wondering.
Now I'm getting that punchable face. I guarantee it.
Losing subscribers instantly.
Yeah. They're just plummeting, man.
Dropping off.
We did a poll on the Daily Hi-Fi Instagram about, I should check to see where we're at. Well, I guess it's over. But we wanted to see like who believes in measurements, right? And it was like, I think it was like 70%. Like I was hoping at least 90 something, but like 70, I'm like, that's still low. 60, 70%?
I think here's the
believe
thing.
in it? I'm like, man, that's a lot of people who don't then. That's
I wonder if it's that they don't
crazy.
believe in it, or it's just not that interesting to them. Like, because some people
I think
really
that they don't
care.
understand it.
And and that too. But that's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
it's a lack of
partially-
understanding.
Partially, it's they're just not interested in it. They just want to know.
I think they're not interested because they don't understand how it applies to them, and that it does actually apply to them. Like measurements do matter. I can show you exactly why they matter. I mean, it's easy. Give me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But people don't seem to. I don't know, man. You get into that whole crazy thought. People. I mean, people believe in weird stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can start rattling a list off of things that people believe in. So you tell them it really is just like anti-science people, and I'm like
crazy Scientologists. Like,
Yeah.
what?
You know what I think it is? Maybe we started off in this hobby, right, with not as much information as we have now, and so it's kind of like they just followed that trend, right? So even though now we have all kinds of access to measurements, and it's kind of like that's not how we did it. You just listen.
Right.
So
Well, that's the
maybe
thing.
it's that.
Well, Joe, you made the point that I think is really important. It's not that it's the end all be all. It's the guide. It's to help you as a consumer, and so that's what I try to do through my channel. That's what you try to do. That's what a lot of people who provide measurements is. They try to provide that to people so they can have a better understanding, not just how it's going to perform in your room, because that's the one thing Andrew said in his video that was just categorically wrong. Is he said once you put it in your room, all those measurements go out the window, and that's not true. The measurements are a means to predict what is actually going to happen in your room, and it is within about plus or minus 2 dB of error. That's really good. If I can tell you what this speaker is going to do in your room within plus or minus 2 dB of error, and you can make a purchase decision off of that, dude, that's gravy. That makes it so much easier for somebody. They don't have to go out and just buy a $1,000 speaker and just hope that it's good. They'll say, "Oh, I know it's going to be pretty good," But yeah, I don't know. People just get
Follow
caught
up
up
on
in
that.
stuff.
The plus or minus 2 dB, is that does that apply also in the bass?
No.
region?
So that would be above the Schroeder frequency, because the bass just wrecks the response, and you do need DSP or multi subs, both ideally. But above that is really what matters too, because that's where, all the room interaction is as far as like determining 3D sense of space, height, width, depth of your soundstage, and timbre. I still say timbre. It's supposed to be pronounced timbre. First time I heard somebody say that, I was like, I think they said it wrong. Googled it, found out I was wrong. Timbre.
Darn.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Some people don't know how to separate the two out, right?
Right.
Like you're saying, there's some intricacies, like the bass, it doesn't apply. So when you say that statement, some people will be like, well, that's completely false, because if I put a speaker in the corner, that's not how it measured in that one chart. Well, I mean, there's more to know, I guess.
Yeah, I just wish that video that we're talking about by Andrew was more informed. There was too many broad generalizations that were stated, and that's what concerned me, because as you said, he's got a ton of people following him and his videos look great. Whether or not, I agree with some of his assessments, that's out the window. But that video, the comments that he made about measurements was just misinformed. And I think that's the best way to put it. So, but everybody seemed to have, you did a video, Joe, and then Gene did one. And I was like, well, it's very ironic too, is because now that I'm setting all this stuff up to start my measurements with a near field scanner, I was going to do a video on, hey, these are the things you're looking for in the measurements. And I was like, I think I'm gonna hold off, give everything a week, so I don't look like I'm piggybacking on this stuff, because it's totally separate. But anyway, it's a mess. But yeah, measurements absolutely matter. The real thing is, what measurements to look at, how do you understand them, and that takes time. And I think that's why people don't want to or don't care. Maybe kind of going back to what Shauna said, they're just lazy, So I'll spoon feed you. You guys come over to my channel. I'll spoon feed you. I'll tell you what it means.
I think I think a lot of people actually don't know what they're hearing. Like in like whenever we go to these hi-fi shows, these guys are just trying to listen to this track. Okay, so listen to the way that dude, shut the fuck up and let me hear the damn thing. Like, I know what the song is.
The speaker tongue.
Oh, the tongue. I made a tongue.
Right.
The guy made a freaking tongue, right? So the speaker was like this, and then there was a tongue. It's like Michael's video. There's a tongue that was like this far out. And I was just like, what is this? I mean, the reasoning behind it was kind of cool. But man, he was really hyped up on the tongue, right? So,
It's weird.
Everybody hears, differently. So
yeah, absolutely. One more reason to have measurements.
You might be prone to, more of a piercing high end than like you like that, as opposed to somebody else. So maybe you want something that's a little bit more colored. Maybe, I know my wife hates like super high pitched stuff, like in the 8 to 10K. So like anytime I'm playing something that is bright, like I wait till she's in the other room, and more so now because we, she doesn't have a job because of COVID,
Right.
So whenever I'm reviewing stuff or just, playing loud music, usually I don't play the overly bright stuff, because that hurts her ears. That hurts her. And I just know because I know, I've been, messing around with frequencies and stuff like that, producing music and stuff. So half the time, like if you're in one of those rooms, like I've heard some whoppers. Like when Joe and I were at Walmart, Kmart, whatever. And,
Walmart.
And in this like $60 soundbar, dude's like, oh yeah, that'll sound better than a full Atmos setup. We just like,
yeah,
what?
Wow.
What did you just
We gotta
say?
get this on video.
Yeah.
that was it's stuff like that. Like people are like, I'm like sitting in this room, I'm like, dude, that's not what's happening. You are you deaf? Or so I think a lot of it is like people think they know, and maybe the measurements really just show that they have no idea what they're hearing.
I see Reginald saying, I agree with you. You said you need measurements, but that's not the whole story, right?
Yep.
And so to add to what Aaron was saying earlier, I think that it's also important to know what the limitations of those measurements are, like what they're telling you and what they cannot tell you, right? So for example, when I do my in-room measurements, I always say, this is an in-room measurement. I'm not building any speakers here. I'm not like making specs for somebody's website. I'm just saying this is how it's performing here, right? And you need to understand what that means, right? And so I saw in Aaron's latest video, he's tweaking the mic so that he's getting less reflections off this like little tiny, piece. And so he's on a different level of accuracy, right?
Yep.
So my measurements aren't that accurate, but I think like if you zoom out, right? If you zoom out, you're like, okay, that's the general correct response that I'm measuring, right?
Right.
And so I know the limitations of my measurements, and I think that's important too.
It was funny. The one time I showed the measurements of what Anthem room correction was doing to my subwoofer. Someone's like, "You measured it wrong." It's like, great, thanks. Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
Last time I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Well, so piggybacking off of what Joe said, and I think this is a perfect example. So Joe does in-room measurements. Now, with anechoic data, you can measure the speaker outside of a room, take all the influence of the room out, then through some weighting of some different curves and things like that, you can provide what is called a predicted in-room response. In all the speakers that I've tested so far, I have taken that predicted in-room response from anechoic measurements, overlaid that to a moving microphone measurement, just sitting in the mic in my home theater seat or whatever and waving the mic around. And that in-room response matches almost ideally to the predicted in-room response. And so, yes, we've shown that it actually matters. The science from anechoic measurements can match what you would get in a room in 2 different rooms in my case. So what I'm doing then is I'm providing that information to everybody. So then you don't have to go out and you don't have to buy that speaker and measure it in your room. I'm doing it for you. I'm basically telling you what it's going to do in most rooms. And then if you have that speaker, if you have any of the speakers that I've tested or somebody else has tested, then you can say, well, this is the thing I liked about it. We can sync it up to the measurements, and then you can make, more informed purchase decisions later. It's not, again, people misunderstand it. It's not to tell you that this speaker is perfect, although it can tell you if a speaker is really good or bad, but more so is to help you correlate what you like with what the performance is. So you're not buying blind. You're not just going out to Amazon or you're not going to Best Buy,
But that's kind of like how people are buying these days.
I know.
Right? They're buying all online, right?
Yeah. And they don't have to. I mean, they can buy online, but they don't have to just guess is what I'm trying to say. Right. I can tell you from the measurements with reliability that this is how it's going to perform in most people's room. Why would you not want that extra information? There's no reason to be scared.
I would love to see actually something where you kind of talk about, like we're saying, below the Schroeder frequency and how placement really affects that. I think people, if they started to understand that more, it would be very helpful, because we all know that the bass really determines a lot of the perceived quality of a speaker, right? If a speaker doesn't have bass, it doesn't matter how accurate that top end is. It could be perfectly flat, but if it has no bass, people are like, speaker sucks.
B&W.
Right? But if you can have something with bass and the top end maybe is not so flat, I think a lot of people would prefer that. So there is preference towards something with bass, and the bass is actually what is most affected by the room.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I think maybe a lesson on that might be very useful to people.
I'll throw up a screen share, and this won't take long because I know some people don't really care, but this is a good example of what I'm talking about here. If I can find it again. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Open a new tab. Will that work? Holy moly. All righty.
There it is.
So what you see is the purple is taking all the anechoic measurements and rolling them up into a single measurement of a prediction of how it's going to perform in a room, right? And then the red and the blue line.
Purple is predictions. I'm going to slow you down here because...
Purple is prediction. Yeah. Yes. Purple is prediction based off anechoic. And then red and blue are 2 different in-room measurements. One is in my home theater, and the other is in my living room. Two totally different listening environments.
It looks like
completely different listening environments. But what you can see is that the trends follow the prediction pretty good. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's within about 2 dB. And the trends, again, are there. Now, the bass goes crazy.
It goes crazy.
Yeah,
like, what is that, 300?
Yeah.
From 300 down, it's like completely opposite. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be root independent.
Yeah. But I mean, you can see just from this alone the merit in having good anechoic measurements. If I can tell you that this speaker is going to probably perform this way in your room, then you're better informed. Then you can say, okay, well, I want something like that. I want this Klipsch performance in my room, so this is what I'm going to buy.
These guys in the chat, you guys are hilarious. I see all the stuff you guys are saying over there. You guys are on fire in the chat too. I love it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
that's just a quick example.
I totally get that. So
there was something from
you're showing out measures.
Yeah, from Jean Sebastian. He said that was his full first name is Jean Sebastian. So anyway, how can you measure separation and soundstage? So that's where like the subjective stuff comes into play.
Well,
right?
you can. I mean, it's
kind of.
It's the polar pattern of the speaker itself too.
Okay.
You know?
So
I mean,
like the dispersion.
Yeah, exactly. The dispersion of the speaker. If you have very narrow dispersion, then it needs to be set up a certain way. If you have very wide, it's going to have more interaction with the room. And this is a speaker that does all sorts of things. As it hands off from the mid bass to the mid range and then to the tweeter, the dispersion will go wide and then narrow and then it'll widen up again. It just does all sorts of stuff.
And that's the Eclipse. Which one? Heresy.
This one's the Heresy 4. Okay. Yeah, and I feel like I'm picking on it. I'm not. It's just it's the one I most recently reviewed loudspeaker. But, it gives you a good idea of what I'm talking about here.
So the danger, I think, in not just ignoring measurements altogether and going with what you think you like, right, is the same whole thing we've always heard is like no highs, no lows, right? Yeah. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
So
must be bows.
Yeah. So think about how many speakers those guys have sold.
Oh, wait, no, this is better.
So people relied on what they heard. And they relied on what they heard, but if you look at the measurements, you're missing this like big old section where maybe the bass is not crossing over properly with this little modules. So I mean, people bought it. If it's just based on what you like, well, there you go. They've sold the most out of anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But the speakers you're missing this whole section. So is that correct? No, it's not correct. You're missing parts of the music, parts of the dialogue or whatever it's cutting off. So that's the problem. And I think this all kind of ties into what we're talking about, because Aaron, you get real technical. And I think some of these other YouTube reviewers, they actually do know. But I've always said the hardest thing is to make something simple, right? So when you try to simplify, you have to throw certain things away, kind of like an MP3, right? You're throwing certain things away and you're trying to figure out what you should not throw away or what you can't oversimplify. Because once you do, you're throwing away too much, stuff gets lost in the translation, and it's really hard. It's really difficult. So I think that's what we're all trying to do is, boil it down so more people can understand it, but it's tough.
I even have trouble doing that myself. But I think ultimately measurements are important, but you buy what you like. And the measurements can help you determine what you like and what other things sound like that. That's really, to me, that's really the importance of the measurement as far as being on YouTube and sharing this information. Because, if I didn't care about helping people understand what they're listening to and how to get better performance or buy things that they already know they like, I would just do this for myself. I wouldn't share with anybody. So it'd be pointless.
Have you guys ever had somebody say, like, buy something based on a recommendation, say, I didn't really like these? Because I have, and I was like, I feel bad. Like, that's not a comment that I like to see. Like, I bought this because I thought this. I didn't really like them. I'm like, oh man, that's I go out of my way, like, all right, maybe where's it placed? Try to help them out.
Trying to help
try to figure out what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Sometimes I'm just like, doing that now. I'm doing that now. Yeah.
But like, just wondering if you guys have ever experienced that.
Of course, I'm doing it now.
Never.
But I mean, I still haven't bought something off of a review I saw on YouTube and then it being bad. Like
other way though, other way around.
Yes,
like
definitely,
they bought something based on your review.
Yes, and they're like, "Oh, I'm not happy about this." And so I'm trying to work with the guy now. Like even while we were in backstage, I'm like typing stuff out. I'm like, "Well, did you try this? Did you try that? Did you try XYZ?" And then turns out it was just user error. So
there you go. That's the confidence you have, right? So when you have the measurements to back it up, like, all right, I think that's probably on your end, right? So because that's another reason
there's there's a couple of details that you might miss, I might miss, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to put that in the video, and then somebody has that issue. I'm like, oh, try checking this box, and they're like, hey, it worked. I was like, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, man.
It happens.
Check this box. Like, are you sure you did that right? Those are the worst too. Like, I'm not even talking like for YouTube, but just like, when your friends ask you something and you're like, you want to be like, you're an idiot, but you can't, you got to walk on eggs and be like, oh, did you try this? I know you're really smart, but did you try blah, blah, blah?
You ain't got to tell them they're smart.
Is that one of your lines, Aaron? I know you're really smart.
Didn't check that box.
I'm guessing it's your fault.
I'm pretty sure you're the dumb one.
That's funny. So, Aaron, what is your full-time job? I think you said you're an engineer. What kind?
Yeah, I just asked or answered. My degree is aerospace engineering.
Wow, he's a rocket scientist, ladies.
So he built missiles.
Legit.
That's really.
Hold on, I got a question. What? Can you tell me like the levels of math that you had to go through to?
Oh, for mine.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was like
hear it.
differential equations, and then that's.
Wow.
I think that's where I topped out was differential equations. Yeah, I didn't get a master's because.
Yeah.
Wait. So like, I don't even know how high up that is.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
Take
So
us from like, all right. So you start off with like
Algebra.
arithmetic.
Arithmetic. I don't even remember.
No,
What
it's
are the
like
levels?
algebra,
What are the levels?
Geometry.
one, probably trig.
One
Trigonometry.
there's algebra 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
Linear algebra, which is like matrices and stuff like that, which actually was kind of interesting. And then differential equations, which is like first order and second and third order type things. Like if you have these things are unknown, you got to basically work your way all around them to figure them out. I don't know if I could do any of that again if I tried, man.
Yeah.
It was
I tapped out at analytical geometry.
I don't even know what that means.
I had trigonometry and analytical geometry in 11th grade.
Geometry.
Yeah, 11th grade. And I'm like, I was going to take calculus in 12th. I'm thinking, what in the world would calculus do in youth ministry? Like nothing, man. So I'm like, this is stupid. So
I tapped out at calculus 3.
I took 3 semesters of weight training. I'm like, yeah, let's do that.
Dude, I used to take archery, bro.
You guys, here's
Archery, got my 1 unit of archery. It was like 10 a.m.
That's
on a
fantastic.
Tuesday, Thursday, and I was always like hungover or stoned. Through there, it was fantastic. It was the easiest A I ever got.
Oh, mercy.
dude.
Oh man,
I took
you're all
PE.
accurate.
I took PE at a community college, so that kind of gives you an idea. Yeah, and I actually got initially I think I got a D or a C, and then I went and talked to the teacher because this is like I used to ride BMX, so I was like really fit. And then I separated my shoulder because I'm really not that great at BMX. So I separated my shoulder halfway through the semester, and I wasn't able to do anything. So the teacher basically gave me a D or a C. I went to talk to her, and she said, "Well, you could have came and walked track." And I got mad. And I was like, she was sitting down. I still remember it was like it was yesterday. I got mad at her. And I was like, I had a doctor's note that said I couldn't do anything. Like I wasn't supposed to be doing anything except for just driving to school. Oh my God. And she gave me a B. I was like, whatever. I hate your face.
Oh man, yeah, it's just funny. It's just funny. You know, I was looking at some of the stuff, like even in the response to Steve Guttenberg, I was like, didn't we learn this in like economics? Like, I don't know. I don't even know if it was high school economics, but this is like basic stuff, right? And so,
dude, I don't even remember from economics. I mean, it's just logical. Like at some point you're going to top out.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be, at least in my opinion, and I'm just making up a number here, but it seems like once you get to, let's say like $3,000, you know, the performance isn't better, but the looks and aesthetics and status, you know, that's when you start getting more into, and I don't know where that number breaking point is, but just as an example, at some point the performance doesn't get any better, but the other things, you know,
and
the
that's
looks,
why that's why you hear a lot of people say that, you know, this speaker, they would put it up against something twice the price of it, and it would be able to hang with that, and that's basically the reason.
I have an idea. Maybe once we get, you know, these HiFi shows going, if we ever see Steve on Chana, you're my designated drinker, right? So you're my DD. And so what we'll do is, in order to show him this, we'll we'll buy some shots, and the first shot will make you feel good, and then there's gonna keep going up, right? We'll just keep going shot after shot, and then there's gonna be a point where it's not gonna be good anymore.
Yeah, but Chana's just
you're not gonna want that next shot, are you?
Out all over the place.
You'll be like, oh, I'm done. No, let's just keep going. It just keeps getting better. Trust me.
That's the negative gain portion of the curve that you showed, Joe.
That's it. See, there it is.
Chana taps out, buddy.
Nah, Chana will just keep going. He got that on lock.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
I mean, dude, we had so
fun.
much fun. I mean, I think you had fun at CES. That was great. Yeah.
Oh, come on, bro.
It was fantastic. People are schmoozing us. People are taking us out to Benihana to eat. I'm the only one ordering alcohol.
Chana's like,
whoops,
Joe, order a drink for me, man.
Joe doesn't drink. We know that.
No, I'm saying order a drink for you. Just pass it over to you.
Yeah.
Funny.
You're not taking your allotment. Hey, so y'all were talking about the Bose stuff earlier. I was going to say that I actually tested the Bose 901 Series 5, which I think is like, from what I understand, I've been told by Bose aficionados that it's basically the same thing as the 6. Yeah, and it was their last thing. It's only like cosmetically different from the 6. And so I measured it. It measured basically like it sounded. It wasn't what I would call an accurate speaker by any stretch of the imagination, but it was. If you guys have heard it, you probably know what I'm talking about. It was a really cool sounding speaker. Yeah. Like so it's got one speaker on the front and then it's got 8 on the back, and you're supposed to put it near a wall, like a corner or something. So it's all reflected sound, and it does some crazy stuff to the soundstage. Like I've made the comment, if I were rich, I would have a room in my mansion set up just for that speaker, so I could go in and just listen to that one every now and again.
Trip out, yeah.
Yeah, because it's crazy. And when I sold it to a guy on he met me on not Craigslist, like Facebook Marketplace, and he was probably in his 60s or 70s, and he said, "Man, I used to have these back in high school in the 70s or whenever it was," and he was just telling me the story, and I was like, "That's the majority of the people who love these speakers. Absolutely. They remember, it's nostalgia for them."
Yeah, absolutely. It's what they grew up with. It's what they
I would love to see a polar pattern of that particular speaker, and that's what I try to tell people is like, just because it's not like magic where when you reveal what's happening, it's just the magic's not there anymore, right? It's not that, because like if you were to show, okay, this is exactly what it's doing, it's still fun, like it's still cool, right? It's not like, oh, he revealed it, now it sucks. Like I thought it was interesting in your measurement of the Klipsch heresies, how you were saying, because it's so wild, it might throw certain frequencies forward and some back, so it adds kind of layers.
Right.
Like that's no problem. If somebody describes that and that's fun to them, cool.
Yeah.
There's no problem, the fact that you show how it's being done.
If you want to see it, I can give you, this is kind of a quick example. Open a new tab. Let's see here. So this, it may be really hard to read. So the front is, let's see here, going down. Going down.
Down is the front.
And red is higher energy, and then blue and green are lower energy. So you can see that there's lower energy toward the front. Like this is horizontal if you're looking top down, bird's eye view. And then this is the back going backwards, and then like the back half of it going this way. So you can see that all the main energy is radiated toward the back. I mean, this is broken down. Each circle represents like a frequency band, and I can't even read it. 200, 320 out to 20K out to here. But the general gist is that, all the energy is going to the back of this speaker. And that's, makes sense because that's what it looks like. So that's pretty neat stuff.
Yeah. Kanga here says, this is where it all gets messy. Our subjective experience is not the same as what we measure. The mechanical data can't account for how each person perceives sound. And definitely. And I think this comes down to another lesson, and this is a lesson in statistics. And statistically speaking, you can make some pretty good guesses about generally, not every single one, right? So generally speaking, this is how casinos work, because they look at the statistics, and for the most part, they're going to win. That's why they have these big old casinos, right? Big old, that's how they win most of the time in the long run, even if you win sometimes, right? And so when we say, hey, these speakers they measure well, that means that generally most people will like them. But you're going to get a few people, right? A certain percentage who like, that sounds horrible. That's not what I like at all. But we're talking about, 86% correlation. That's not bad. I would take that bet every time as a business person.
Right. Yep. And that just comes down to what you, as the consumer, are interested in. And again, that's why measurements are important. It's not to tell you that this is the best speaker ever, although that's useful. It's also to help tell you this is what the speaker that you like is doing. And if you want other speakers that do similar to that, then these ones do it too. It really is that simple.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think if you could figure out what the speaker's doing, if you have some measurements that tell you what your ears are doing, which you can kind of do, you can figure out where you have hearing loss, right? It's not just like, oh, I can't hear past a certain amount. You might have some dips, and you can get that checked out. And then there's preference. So if you can start seeing like a trend in, you know what, I actually like more bass. So for me, I actually like a little bit more bass, and I know that, right? So you factor all those things, and you'll find out really what kind of speakers you might like. And then there's the whole thing of how it looks, and that's a whole different thing, right?
Sure. Oh yeah, status. I think you even mentioned it in your video to Steve.
Yeah,
but yeah, status. There's some speakers that just look freaking awesome, and can guarantee they're probably not going to sound good, but they look pretty darn cool. You know, starting to get into furniture at that point.
Yeah.
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 What are some speakers that you like the look of that probably don't measure very well?
So I was recently looking at, oh gosh, what's his name? Used to work for, was it B&W back in the day? I've forgotten his name.
Oh, he just resigned, right? Not too long
Well,
ago?
he started his own company is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
just saw
Do with
the
the
article.
ponytail.
Oh, that narrows it down.
Yeah, that
seriously.
narrows it.
Okay.
Hang on. I'm going to have to Google this crap now.
Did he have a beard too?
I'm
Did he
just
have a
messing with
beard?
you, man.
It's like Aria or something.
Was there a little
it
bit of gray in the
Sennheiser?
ponytail?
No. Gosh. Gia speakers. There we go. Hold on.
Yeah,
Dadgummit.
Geel or something like that.
Vivid Audio? I'm Googling this right now.
Hang on.
Vivid.
Because I just
Yeah.
read an article.
Vivid Audio.
There's a studio around where I
that's
live,
something-
like
that's
here in like Studio City. It's called Vivid.
It's a
You
studio.
heard of that, Shauna?
I bet it is. It's Mike's favorite.
Oh my goodness.
What's that? What I miss, man?
Vivid, you know. I don't know.
You guys are ridiculous.
Messing with Mike.
Here's the one I was thinking of. I don't know how long this company's been around, but this guy used to design. I think he designed the Nautilus, the B&W Nautilus. The same guy.
That kind
Yeah.
of.
I mean, that's just a cool looking speaker to me. And actually, the way that it's lined up, you know, vertically with the mid bass, the mid range, and the tweeter all together, I think that it's probably a pretty well performing measuring speaker as well. But you know, outside of that, I just think it's neat looking. Now, would I ever actually own something like that in my living room? No. But if I had like stupid money, then sure.
That
why
thing in
not?
the back does then. It looks like you can hang them. You can hang.
Where's
What
that-
is it?
Oh yeah.
Where's that
What
is
B&W
that?
Nautilus one? That thing I always thought was really
The Nautilus, yeah, it looked
Yeah.
pretty crazy. I always like
looks
the
like
802s.
Yeah.
You know?
So I heard the 802s and like as far as like accuracy, they do things in the sound stage that's kind of funky, but with the dual 10s that they have on them and stuff, I mean they get dumb loud and they sound pretty cool doing it. Every Macintosh store I've been into has got those things hooked up to them. Has got the 802s hooked up to them. Every single one.
Dude, I want
Well,
some
there
of
you
these
go.
right here,
Macintosh.
man.
Do Macintosh? Does their stuff measure extremely well? Like compared to other stuff, relative? You know,
Like their electronic stuff, I really don't know. I really
'Cause
don't.
I know
I'm
you
not even
love
sure
your
if I've ever
Macintosh.
seen. Oh, I don't care if it measures.
I mean,
like junk. I
the
could
way
care less.
the way they like all the thought that goes into just the one amplifier. You know,
Yeah.
the way they have the different sections so that nothing
Yeah.
interferes with anything. Like it's pretty impressive. And then it's like all made in the United States, right?
Right.
So
it's
then that jacks
is it
up the price as
Binghamton,
well.
New York. Yeah. I would like to go visit that place. There's a couple places I'd like to go, like the KEF facility. I'd like to go visit that because I believe somebody posted on one of the forums or on one of the Facebook groups. I guess he works there. And I made the comment, hey, do they allow demos or you know, what's the word I'm looking for here, guys?
Walk
Not
through
walkthroughs.
tours.
Tours. There we go.
Tours,
That's
yeah.
a tough one. What kind of engineer are you? Shut up. All right. Yeah, I'd like to do a tour of that. That would be pretty cool.
what are some
like to see
ugly
this
speakers or some? My daughter doesn't like it when I say ugly. What are some not very attractive speakers that you would
speakers.
rock because they actually perform very well?
I don't know, man.
So I don't
Like the most
I would
punchable
rock 'em if
speakers?
They don't look
Punchable speakers.
Like
Yes.
I'm thinking of there's a certain JBL. It has an orange little pattern. It's like the squares on the
Oh,
front.
I know what you're
L100s,
talking about.
L100s.
It's the ugliest
Oh yeah.
gangster looking speaker I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
You don't like those, huh?
No, man, they look booty.
They look like daily hi-fi, bro.
no, they
They
look
do.
like booty. Here,
Oh.
I'll pull them
Daily
up.
Hi-Fi
These-
looks like booty,
I
he said.
cannot stand these things, man. But I mean, I'm sure they sound great.
People
but
love
they-
them,
they
man.
look like
Again, that's
garbage.
one of those nostalgic type looking speakers.
I'm
Because
trying
it
to find
was
the
it
one
like a
with
50th anniversary or something?
I'm trying to
Is that
find.
what it
Here we
was?
go. Right here. Oh yeah, these are ugly as crap.
Okay,
Watch
so how about
this.
this? What's your percentage as far as like if you had to weigh? What's your weight when you put like that you put on looks versus sound performance? What do you think? How much weight do you put on each?
Well, think about it. To me, this has like zero. Like,
Yeah, I don't really understand what that thing is.
Your dislike for him is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
I love it.
dude. I mean,
This is
who
the
has a
first time we're
purple-
hearing
Oh,
Mike hate on something. That's
No, these
know.
things suck.
Fresh hater Mike.
These-
Let's
yeah,
go.
JBL's going to call him next week and be like, hey, we were going to send you some of these, but we
Nope.
changed our minds.
And I'm gonna say thank you because I'm not wasting my time because they look like booty. So that's just me, my own preference.
Dude, I've never seen a waffle booty before, but
Hey,
you said it looks like booty.
It does,
like somebody
man.
sat on a grill of a waffle.
Yeah. I don't know. I
That
just
sounds terrible.
there's nothing cool about that to me. But then again, I don't like, and that's what's weird because I have vintage speakers.
Yeah.
I have Clips La Scalas that were made in 1980. I mean, these things are old as dirt, like me, and
The crow song's gonna be all over it.
but I almost
Careful.
didn't keep them because of that. I mean, like I bought them mainly just to buy them. I was wanting to hear them in my own home, be able to share in the Clips community, and I'm like, holy crap, these sound like a lot better than what I've got now. And my
like
speakers are new.
I like the way those
And-
focales look, by the way.
Focales
I don't
are
know
gorgeous.
how they measure, but I like the
Oh,
angle.
The one, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
like the Wilson stuff, and I don't
Well,
understand.
not the
Well,
crazy
I'm
one
just
with the
talking about how they-
like all separated, like it looks like a spine.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking about that one. I'm
Okay,
just talking
okay.
about like
Oh,
just
the
the basic
Eagles.
where it has like a little bit of an angle.
I think you're
It has a
talking
little
about
rate.
the
It's
Sonus
like-
Faber.
The
have
new
those.
Cora line, the like,
gotcha.
their cheapest one.
No, not Sonus.
Yeah, I could get
No,
with some
you're
Sonus Faber too.
Oh, the Sonus Faber, those
They're
Idas
gorgeous,
look
man.
gorgeous. I mean,
The Aidas.
I don't even care what they sound like or measure. Like it's just like
They look
Yeah, dude,
awesome.
I
they're
would-
there. You know what's funny? So, so my uncle's got a pair of those $80,000 Bang & Olufsen, those Bio Lab
The Bang
90s or
Olufsens?
something like that. Yeah, 80,000. And when the last time I was there, I'm like, hey, let's fire these guys up. And my cousin's like, oh, dude, it's not working. And I'm like, what do you mean it's not working? He's like, well, we can't get a signal into it. I'm like, why can't we just plug it in? He's like, no. The guy that did the integration for us, because they have all kinds. It's like a 12-bedroom mansion kind of thing. So, and they have music in every room of the house, and there's more rooms in the bedrooms, right? So I think it's like 21 rooms or something like that.
Mhm.
And so it was all integrated and it was all working, and then something happened.
Yeah.
So they can't even use this shit. It's funny and then it's sad, and they're like, do you want to look at it? I'm like, no.
I'll take them home. I'll test them out.
The guy from Bang & Olufsen came to go look at it, and they're like, oh, something's wrong with the way this has been integrated. So now, like, there was something did an update, and they can't even play anything out of the speakers. So
You know, I don't like those
Pretty lame.
Kef blades. Somebody mentioned Kef blades. I bet those measure pretty good, but I don't like the way they look.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe somebody else does. I'm sure somebody does.
I don't hate them like Michael hates the L100s,
Yeah.
but I also don't love them. I don't know, man. I can't think of any speaker out there though that I've seen and I'm like, oh my god, that's incredible. You know what I mean? Like it just looks awesome. There's a lot of them I think look cool, but I'm just used to seeing like cheap stuff too. So I'd be curious of what to know like the millionaires are rocking.
What about like something
I
like
can't
that,
I
man?
can't roll with
Nah,
that.
that looks weird to
Look
me,
at that.
man.
Wouldn't
that looks
it be
top heavy.
crazy?
I would have my enemy come over and I would be like, look, let's make a
enemy.
truce, and then I would have him stand next to it and I would
And
push
just
it
push
over.
it over.
The worst are the ones with the huge horns. I don't like the ones with the huge horns.
yeah.
Oh,
Man,
God.
the DIY guys loved, like, they'll post pictures of their huge. And I saw one where a guy had a half space horn. Like, basically, the horn was coming halfway. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks like they took the horn and intersected it by the ground. So
Oh,
a
nice.
half space horn. And I was like, I bet that sounds like stupid loud, but it looks really dumb. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just weird to me.
All right, so what do you think about these right here?
Let's see. This should be a new episode.
those-
Like we
Those
just
are
rate
so
speakers.
freaky, man.
MBLs.
I've listened to some stuff like that, man. They are the weirdest, like a lampshade, man.
avant
I've heard
garde.
them. I've heard them.
Kanga says.
Yeah.
Avant
Heard 'em.
garde.
I'm good. I mean,
Not my style.
I mean,
you know what? I like the Magico. Kanga says Magico. I could rock some Magico. I like that. I like the way those look.
Magico M9s.
Oh man,
I like some of those German Elax stuff too. Some of their stuff looks kind of cool.
Yeah. Hold on. There's this one. I would buy this one any day. of the
Later,
week.
True Voice of Reason.
Later, man.
You know you want something like that. That's a big old horn.
What?
Like a small. It looks like a duck, man. I mean, look, it got
It
two
does look
eyes
like
and
a
a big
duck.
old duck mouth. What in the heck?
That does look like a duck.
Yeah, this.
Oh, it says
this
Daffy
is
Duck
like
speakers.
It's just some crazy stuff. Man. Look, this
Daffy
is the
Duck
this is
speakers.
that's Return of the Jedi right there, man. It's like what the.
Oh, are those the speakers? I thought it
Darth
was those
Vader
white
speakers.
panels around the room. Like, is this surround sound? What are we looking at?
Whoa, talking about some horns.
Yeah, there you go, Mike.
What?
Put those in there.
Almost looks like it has a tongue in that one.
Duck speakers. Where's the tongue?
That sounds crazy. Oh, that's what you're talking about there, Aaron. There
Oh,
you
those
go.
things. Oh, I've seen
It's
those.
like 3 horns, man.
Yeah.
I might be able to fit those in my apartment.
You can do that.
Look at
Yeah,
horn.
and
Look at
nothing
that.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's just- some of these things are. Oh wow.
Oh, look at
There you
those
go.
over the
Atmos.
top horns. Atmos. Atmos horns.
No, those are height, man. Those aren't.
That's
Atmos.
that's front heights. Oh,
Those are the
my
height, front
gosh.
heights. Yeah.
Those are front lows.
Oh, Nicola.
I wonder what a trumpet sounds like through a big old trumpet like
through
that.
a trumpet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
That's some. What if they sounded crazy? Those look like your La Scalas right there, Michael.
Yeah. Almost
it's like,
the
7
bottom
La
half.
Scalas built into
the bottom
each
half.
other.
Yeah, you got the bottom half of those speakers.
Right. I don't know. Ooh.
Oh, this is a good episode. We should just do this all like
This is
the
some
whole
cra-
time. Just look
like
at speakers and comment.
review some crazy
Ooh, even
stuff,
better.
man.
Let's predict how they sound.
Yeah,
That'll make
like-
people happy.
Ooh.
You know what?
Okay, those sound
I want to
wonderful.
do that. I want to like just call
Like
connect with
Aaron,
all these
how
audio
nice.
reviewers and tell them,
Idiots.
you know what? Let's take some speakers that we know the measurement of. Don't look at the measurement. I want you to listen and draw the graph.
Yeah.
This is
Just
this is
with your
called the-
ears, just
this
draw
is
the
called a
graph.
Scorpion King right here. Look at this.
A Scorpion King.
Oh yeah, man.
That makes me think of like Fraggle Rock. I don't know. It looks like some weird Jim Henson Muppets or something.
This looks like a dog. Bending
looks
over to
like-
take a poop right here. I mean, look, because he's got the 2 legs.
Oh,
Like a cat.
He's about to
here's
drop a
the-
load right
It
there.
looks like the
Here's what
chimpanzee's
Kangas
butt.
tail.
You ever see their butt? Kind of looks like that.
It's gone off the rails.
Oh, what do you think about it? We may diss the looks, but hey, if they measure right, would you concede?
I would
No,
not.
would I
Yeah,
concede
I would
what?
not. No,
I mean, I've
would
still got to
not.
live with it. So
That's the thing.
Holy
That's the
crap.
thing, right? I think maybe that's
Like-
one aspect that we have to look at in reviews is like, how much weight do you put on the actual look of the speaker? Like we never
there's
talk about that really,
they're
right?
certainly proud of ownership. You know,
Like, where in the world
Pride
would
of
this
ownership,
sound,
yeah.
Where would this sound even go?
that looks
Do
like
you
it's
have, like-
painted MDF.
It's
Do you
got.
have
It
15
really got to have
rows
like.
of seating?
No. It's only for one. It's audio files. One seat, bro. One
Dude,
seat.
this is
It's a lonely
15
life.
feet high,
It's a lonely
Chana.
life, and we love it.
Chana, look, this is 6 foot right here. So
That's
this
a
is
bar.
about. That's
Look
like
at the brick
12
back
foot.
wall.
Like you'd have to have a really big ass room.
No, you had to have.
Look at that.
All right, Aaron, what you got, man? I know you had
that's
something. You were gonna
awesome.
share. That's some fun stuff, man. So that's
Oh,
some,
yeah.
There's definitely some. What's the word? Not exoteric. Esoteric.
Esoteric.
Yeah,
Is it? Yeah. It's
Eso.
like just kind of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like
cool.
I mean, if like as far as regular-ish speakers
Yeah.
are concerned, I had the Klipsch RF73, and then I moved to the Martin Logan ESLX. They're both about $2,000 a piece.
Yeah.
Dual
Dude, Martin Logan's
10s.
beautiful.
Dual 10s on the Klipsch, dual 8s on the Martin Logan. So I knew I was going to add a sub. I obviously already have subs,
Yeah.
but there was just the quality. There's two things. There was the quality of female voices and and like stringed instruments.
Yeah. I'd agree with you there.
On the what do you call it? On the Martin Logans,
Logans, yeah.
that sounded better than the Klipsch. The bass was way better
Yeah.
on the Klipsch. But then the other thing was the visual impact in the room. The Klipsch are big boxes,
Yeah.
whereas the Martin Logan is it's just this thing that like looks really sexy since it's
Yeah.
like glass and reflective next to my
Right.
glass on OLED on glass
Sure.
thing. So it was like a couple of things. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, it doesn't put out. I mean, it was a hilarious. I'm parking from coming home from work. I'm parking, and I get out of the car, and I'm like, "Is that Cardi B?" And like our parking lot's on the other side of the
That's
building
thumping.
as our our sliding glass door, our patio and stuff. And I walk around the corner. I'm like, "Yep." And I walk upstairs. My wife's just dancing her ass
Just
off in the
thumping it, man.
kitchen,
Yeah.
blasting Cardi B. It's the funniest thing.
That's funny.
So she actually really liked them.
Yeah.
She just didn't like just how much visual space they took up, because they're like
They're
this
wide, yeah.
wide, like deep, like
Yeah.
they're like
Yeah.
a couple of feet deep,
Yeah.
and pretty wide, just a little over the 10-inch mark.
And they're different looking too,
I mean, I don't know. I had Klipsch before that. I don't think that
Wait,
do
are
you
you
mean
talking
the Martin
about
Logans?
Yeah, with the
I was talking about the
panels?
Klipsch, but
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I remember when I unboxed it, because I was filming, and I took out the Martin Logans out of the box, and my wife is like, "What is that?
Yeah,
Is that a
they're gorgeous.
speaker?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, it's a speaker." She's like, "Wow, that looks really good." She's like, "Do they sound good?" I'm like, "You should." I'm like, They usually do. So, of course, the other thing that was a pain in the ass was setting up a proper image on the Martin Logans, because we're not sitting straight on to our speakers. So we're at like an angle. So with that angle, I have to toe in a little bit more just to get a proper center image, because it's hard as hell to get a proper center image on, what is it? Electrostats.
Yeah.
So those
I've
things
never
I had
heard electrostats.
those things
Everybody
I had
says
to,
they're great.
yeah.
So
I mean, it all depends, right? Again, like it depends on what you like.
When I reviewed the 60XTIs, man, they had the little AMT tweeter. I'm really starting to like the sound of the AMT tweeters. I mean, they sound phenomenal, man. I mean, mid-range is super, super smooth. Like you said, voices, man, the 60XTIs definitely had better mid-range than the RF-73s. But like you said, the bottom end, it doesn't compare. So, but
yeah, these are like things you gotta like. Yeah, things you gotta weigh.
Gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous finish. That red, was it like red walnut or something like that? That's really, really, really pretty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a nice one. I have the bookshelves still.
Yeah,
those are good.
See, measurements didn't matter. Chana's wife says she was dancing to those speakers.
Right. She just cranked it up, man.
Rockhurst, I see you. I've seen you on a few of those comment threads.
Hold on. Let me reply real fast here. Let me tell you why measurements matter. Because now that we know what she likes, if something happens to those speakers and you can't buy those anymore, then you can find speakers that measure similarly, and you can buy the ones that measure similarly, and she will like those too.
That's right. We can see what kind of increase in bass that she likes.
Drop. Bass drop,
similar
not mic drop. Bass drop.
Yeah.
There it is.
We'll do a mic drop.
There it is.
And just lower this down slowly.
Rockhurst went in on Gene too. On Gene's video, he just went off on him. Yeah, good job, Rockhurst. Thank you for being nice to me, because you were pretty mean in your comment. So
that was funny.
That's hilarious.
Well, cool. I think we're up on time.
Yeah.
We gotta hop into this after show.
After party, man.
So it's there at patreon.com/daily HiFi. That's where you find it. You have to be a Patreon. We spend about 30 minutes. That's what we say. We actually usually spend longer in there. But we're going to hang out with you guys over there. So
somebody wanted me to pull up a link. I think let's do the Legacy Audio. I think they were talking about Legacy Audio. Have you guys heard any of the Legacy Audio stuff?
I have. I've heard them just on like shows.
Focus SE. Let me pull it.
They've got some Caliber ones. That's their bookshelf speakers. Probably the only ones I could ever even afford. Legacy gets really, really expensive.
Here,
$20,000-$30,000 speakers.
You don't need a subwoofer. Yeah, and I hope you win it for $10,000.
Yeah, wow. They get way on up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things.
Legacy
like
Focus SE. Let's see what they run.
I mean, if I was gonna spend that much money,
so they're running $7,000 to $15,000.
$7,000 to $15,000. Yeah, well, that's a lot of dough.
Something like that.
That's a lot of dough for some speakers.
Yeah.
Oh,
my dog's barking.
JP Winters.
Yeah, we have to. And that's almost kind of like their entry level. I mean, Legacy has some really high-end, expensive stuff.
It don't matter to me if ASR is lost. Why are you apologizing to me? I don't own that place. Just post there, man. It's actually a really good
community. Later, Tristan.
Of good
Have
guys.
a good one, man.
See you, buddy. Holy cow. So
bye,
here's
Dud.
the Legacy Valors, $80,000. $80,000.
Yeah.
They're a funky.
I mean, that was like the cost of my car. I would take the car over the speakers.
Why? Because diminishing returns or what?
No, there's no such thing.
No, because I'd rather have the car.
There you go.
Yeah.
You can walk. It's cool.
You know, people were saying that their Bose in their car sounded great, and I gotta say, I had a 2005 Audi A4 that had a Bose system that was way better than the stock one. But then they started leveling things up, so now my Q7 starts with the Bose, and then you pay the $5,000 for the Bang & Olufsen, and that 23 speakers. 1900 watts.
Pump it up, baby.
Fantastic. Tweeters pop out the dash. Like all kinds of crazy stuff happens. Yeah. I think there's a 10-inch sub in the trunk there. Nice.
Boom, chicka, chicka, boom.
The 8s are nice.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up and let's head over to the other side.
There is a pair for $50,000. A pair of Ada Adas. Oh, the
Adas. Yeah.
We're going through to the other side.
Sonus
yeah.
Faber.
Because Harmon did all the audio and both put their name on them.
That'd be
Oh,
hilarious if that
there
was true.
it is.
You never know,
Tristan,
man.
you're too funny, Tristan. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Aaron, thanks for coming back, man. I know
Thanks for having me
I'm
on.
excited to hear what you're gonna do with that clipple. By the way, you should hit.
Follow
Yeah.
everybody's channel. So Aaron at Aaron's Audio Corner, just find that. You can see his website also.
Google it.
I'm at Joe and Tell, and then Youth Man
Yeah.
and Techno Dad.
And the
TDZ it's all
over
there.
here. Yeah. Follow all our channels, and of course follow the Daily Hi-Fi channel. Again, we do this every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We talk all things audio, video. Come with your questions. Hey, we should take some calls next week.
Let's do it.
We can do it
Next week.
Put it on the schedule.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
come up
calls
with your
don't
questions this week, guys. Be prepared to ask them because we always throw the number out and then you're like, nobody rings. It's like, what's up? So
Yeah, just plan on it. Plan on
think about
calling
your
in
questions.
or
give
a
us call.
question or a comment just to
Love
say
to
what's
come.
up.
Love to just chat with you.
That's right. All right, and we will see you on behalf of myself, Joe, Michael, Aaron. I have to like forget people's names here. Like, what's happening? We'll see you guys next week. And for those of you that are patrons, we will see you in the after show after party. Remember to go to patreon.com to grab the link for the after party. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Later.
Later.